Hey there slugs! Welcome back to my channel for another Genshin Impact video. Let's talk about character building, going from this to this. This gets brought up every time I go live, and it's the same question every time. How do I build my characters? I have a hard time explaining things on the spot, and I'm really not that good at talking, so I figured it would be a lot easier and more convenient for everybody involved if I just made a YouTube video to explain everything. So here it is! Make sure to crush that like button as if you were Eula crushing hilly trails between her thighs. Yeah. And be sure to subscribe so you can see more useful videos like this in the future. I've also reserved a whole list of super helpful little tips at the end, so make sure you watch the whole video. Welcome, my friends, to Slug's Character Building 101. I am starting with a level 0 C0 character with no weapons, talents, or artifacts. Warning, this is where the grinding starts. So you've pulled this new character on your wish banner. What now? First things first, you'll need a lot of materials. Every character is different, so the materials I'm going to be using for Jean will not be the same for your little emo boy Razor. But that's what makes the game so fun. Each character's uniqueness is special, and you get to know them a little better as you go through the process of building them. So if you would like to see what weapons, artifacts, and team builds are best for a specific character, I recommend going to this website. I will leave a link in my description. Throughout this video, I will be covering the following: attributes, what weapons your character should be using, artifacts you should be equipping, constellations, and leveling your talents. Starting with your attributes, this is where you level and ascend your characters, one of the most important features. Doing so increases the attributes you see here on the right, and it unlocks new talents and talent levels. Leveling up requires experience books, which you can acquire from chests, quests, domains, and most abundantly through ley lines. And to get completely leveled up, you're going to need a lot of experience books, which means lots and lots and lots of ley lines. So once you reach a certain level checkpoint, you can then ascend your character. To reach certain ascensions, you must be the qualified AR rank, meaning you can't just be AR 20 with level 80 to 90 characters. Makes sense. Each character requires gemstones with the corresponding element, boss drops, a mob drop, and a natural material, which is usually related to the area that they're from. And now we just have to fight the same boss over and over again and deplete Teyvat of all of its natural resources till we get the required amount of materials for this ascension. Now that we know how to level up, let's make sure we're equipped with the right weapon. Each character is going to have a few certain skills that they can scale off of. This comes in handy when picking out a weapon, and artifacts as well, but let's not get too ahead of ourselves. For example, your support/healers will usually scale off something like HP percent or defense percent, and your DPS/sub DPS will scale off of things more like attack percent, elemental mastery, physical damage, bonus, and etc. Each weapon is going to have a base attack and a main stat, which will increase as you level it. They also have specific abilities per set. Set meaning one of each weapon under the same category. 5-star weapons are great to have, but are hard to get, especially if you're free to play. There are 4-star weapons for every character in the game, and in some cases, having a 4-star weapon with multiple ranks can be more beneficial. You can rank up your weapons by combining multiple of the same weapon into one, and this increases its special ability significantly, and can be ranked up to 5 times. Your weapon levels and ascends just like your character, and requires ascending materials acquired from domains and mob drops. Do not try to level a weapon unless you know you're going to be using it. Otherwise, it's gonna cost you and it'll be a waste. I'm building Jean here as a support, so picking a weapon with energy recharge will help keep my team's burst abilities up, and the sacrificial sword gives a chance of ending the cooldown of my elemental skill. Now, this isn't Jean's best in-slot weapon, but it's one of the best free-to-play options along with these others: Black Sword, Amanoma Kikuchi, Festering Desire, and so on. Alright, now that we're armed, let's add a little flair. Artifacts are meant to enhance the abilities of your characters, and they do a lot. Artifacts are a whole mess, so buckle in for this one, folks. Every artifact is going to have a main stat and substats. And when you're first starting to farm and apply artifacts to your characters, that is what is most important, the main stat and the substats. Each different artifact set has its own set bonuses depending on how many of the set you apply to your character. These are helpful, but don't get carried away trying to get the bonus that you sacrifice good stats and substats. Most artifacts are obtained through domains, all except Wanderer's Troop and Gladiators, which are obtained from bosses. If you don't know what artifacts to get for your character, it's easy to start with artifacts for their specific element. Then you can go from there. I've done the honor of creating this little cheat sheet for you so you can know what stats to look for in general for your character's artifacts. Of course, this is super general and completely dependent on how you want to build your character, because there's a lot of different ways that you can. Now, there are 5 artifacts to equip on your person: flower, feather, timepiece, goblet, and crown. Your flower will always be base HP, and your feather will always be base attack. Those main stats do not change. So for those two, you only need to focus on their substats. Your timepiece and crown will have the chance to have any of these as a main stat. Your goblet has a chance to have these, plus damage bonuses, either physical or elemental. So, like I said, I'll be making Jean here an Anemo support. So, to start, I'll see what I can give her from what I have already, but then we'll delve into the VV domain in search of Anemo damage bonus, healing bonus, attack percent, crit rate, damage, and energy recharge, mostly because it never hurts to have crit stats. In fact, crit stats are a must for the majority of your artifacts, main or substat, mostly because it'll increase your chances of getting the big damage. Next down the line, we have Constellations. Now, these are not a must. They just happen to be pretty cool if you can get them in your wishes. Every character has 6 constellation slots, and each one either adds a new ability or enhances an already existing ability, buffing your character. It's always a good idea to equip constellations, unless it's to equip a 6th constellation on Bennett, but that's a different story. Let's just say it's important to read up on what exactly your constellations do for your character and how they affect your whole team as well. Okay, last but not least, your talents. These are so important. Please do not forget about these. Besides artifacts, these are probably the most expensive things to level, but they are so worth it. Here, you can increase the level of your actual skills. And what do you know? This also requires farming materials from domains. So fun. Plus other materials like mob drops, and once you level them up to a certain point, you start needing specific drops from weekly bosses as well, meaning the Big Rock Frog, Icy Wolf, Ed Sheeran, and the Wind Dragon, the Wicked Witch of the West, and Booby Sword Lady. Luckily, if you don't happen to get the exact drop you need from the weekly boss, you can attempt to switch it out in the crafting table. Once you reach this stage of talent levels, you will also notice that you will need crowns. These are usually obtained through events, but you can also get them through leveling up either your Frostbearing Tree, your Sakura Tree, or the Lumenstone Adjuvant. And this all takes a lot of time, so don't panic if you're not able to go from 0 to 90 for your character in a day or even a week. Just build as you progress through the game and don't sweat it. This is supposed to be fun, right? Easy as that, right? Well, here are the tips that I promised in the beginning that will hopefully help you out in your character building grind. I was going to say journey, but it's just a grind. Tip number 1, level all of your characters to at least 20. Even the ones that you don't use for the bonus Acquaint Fate, because free wish equals possible new character or possible constellation. Number 2, use your resin every day and utilize condensed resin. It's acquired through the leeway reputation. This will increase the amount of items you receive from domains and ley lines, making your grind a little less grindy, and it will immensely speed up your building process. Alright, tip number 3, pick up everything. And I mean everything. Quite literally, every item dropped in-game can be used for character level materials or can be used to transmute into character level materials. This way, when you go to level your characters, you might already have the items needed. And those are all my tips. If you made it through to the end of the video, congrats, you are now a Genshin character building pro. Kudos to you. Now, hit the notification bell so you are alerted when I post my next video. Stay smart, slugs. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.